Or are you just wandering around?
Wandering. This is Fursuiting 101.
It is Fursuiting 101. You can learn about all my bad mistakes in life. So what time we got? We got 3:04, so we should have started a little bit ago. But I promise this gentleman, you got it up and running?
It's running. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fursuiting 101. My name is Huskoon. Alkali put me in charge of this panel because he doesn't know that many fursuiters. And I've run this panel before, so my background is pretty extensive. I've been fursuiting since 2004, so this is, what, 13 years now. That's really what got me into the fandom was, kind of an interest in mascot costumes and seeing what they did, being able to entertain the masses and just being fun to be around. If you go to any kind of sporting events or any large gatherings, you'll have some form of mascots. Like even like the even M&M's has mascots now. So you go to theme parks, baseball games, mascots everywhere. And that really got me interested in it. So I got my first fursuit back in 2004. Is the version 1 of this guy, and I got this will be version 3 now. Back 2 years ago, 2015. So it's not uncommon for people to go through different variations of their character from a fursuit standpoint. And so I would say, depending on how much you fursuit, a fursuit should last you at least 5 or 6 years. And there are some people, if you're going to a dozen cons a year and you're fursuiting for 15 hours at a con, then it may not last nearly as long. But if you're fursuiting, once a year at Anthrocon for 6 hours, then it may last you a little bit longer, but there's always going to be some kind of wear and tear. But I'm already getting off track. So been helping run the fursuit track at various conventions. Who remembers FCN? Nobody here. Nobody. FCN was a convention in the Detroit, Michigan area. I started as their fursuit track lead back in 2007, 8, something like that. The years all blend together when you get old. And I've been staffing cons, helping with fursuit track stuff pretty much ever since. I'm director of programming at IFC. I do work on the fursuit track at Anthrocon as well as here at Fursquared. So the approach to fursuiting has changed a lot, but this is a 101 panel, so I kind of want to touch on a little bit of everything and not go too much into depth in anything because there are a lot of things to cover. Because you've got performance, you've got safety, you've got maintenance, you got emergency planning, how to interact with people. There's going to be a panel later, I think it's 7 o'clock on fursuiting outside the fandom, and that's some tips on how to fursuit when you're away from a con, because fursuiting at a convention is great. It is some of the most fun you have at a convention, as I'm sure you can attest to, correct? But when you get outside your safety net of a furry con and you decide, hey, I want to go to Navy Pier in fursuit, or maybe a local county festival middle of summer in fursuit. That changes the game big, but that's going to be, we'll talk about that at 7 o'clock with that panel. For now, let's talk about performance. Being old school, I'm a big fan of the silent performer. Now, it's a school of thought that's kind of changed over the years as the fandom, I don't want to say gets younger because the fandom's not getting younger, I'm just getting older. One thing that's changed over the years is there's more of an acceptance of people talking in fursuit to show off their character, and that's perfectly fine. I'm old school. I like trying to be quiet, especially with people I don't know. Now, if I know someone who out in the hallway and I'm best friends with them, I will talk in person because they know exactly who's in there. But if I'm at a small con and there's people I don't know, I try to pantomime. I try to exaggerate my actions, and I think that's the big thing with performing, because you get your fursuit, it's your first time out there, and you're like, oh no, I don't know what I want to do. Well, first off, you're going to get a lot of attention because new fursuits do get more attention. The longer your fursuit's been out there, I don't want to say the less attention you're going to get. It goes one of two ways. You'll either get a lot of attention because you'll be well known, or you'll get less attention just because you're either not well known or you're not the new big thing. But getting back to the point, there's a lot of different ways to express a character. And one thing that's going to happen when you put on 15 pounds of fur is it tightens up your movements a lot. Hello, skunk. What are you looking for?
Fursuiting 101.
You're here. Come on in. So, I'm going to pull this back a little bit. Well, maybe not. Break it again. One thing that wearing a fursuit does is it hides a lot of your movements. Because right now, I'm kind of an expressive person, as you may have noticed as I'm talking up here, talking with my hands a lot. But that can get lost when you're in fursuit if you're trying to pantomime. So what you want to do is exaggerate everything you do when you're in fursuit. So, you know, I'm going to come up to this guy, I want to give him a hug, I'm just going to give him a hug. But that's going to be it's going to look very boring for us because you have a lot of fur covering you up. It hides your movements. So if I want to give this guy a hug, but I'm in fursuit, I want to start looking ridiculous. Like, hey, I want to give you a hug. Boom! Exaggerate everything. Anything, oh man, that looks so stupid. Well, it does look stupid when I do it. I don't have 15 pounds of fur on me. So if it kind of feels stupid, you feel like you look ridiculous, you're probably doing it right when you're in fursuit. And that goes with pretty much any kind of action, you know. If I want to go for a high five, I'm going to just, yeah, right up here, boom. Just get the entire body into it. And you should be using your entire body in pretty much everything you do. You notice when I said I'm going to go for a hug, notice how my leg, boom. Legs are also involved in that. Every part of my body, except for the tail, is involved. If you somehow get your tail involved, that's kind of scary. There are tails that are built to kind of move with you. That's actually how his tail is built. The belt is very, very tight. So anytime I move my hips, the tail just kind of weaves. And when it's like a tractor trailer losing control, you bump the back and woo. But that would be if someone really wanted to bring their character to life. The first thing I would say is work on performance, work on exaggerating each and everything you do. And it's exhausting. It can be very tiresome because your body's not used to basically wearing a sauna for long periods of time. And when you do exaggerate, use your head, hands, arms, legs, feet, and get everything involved in what you're doing. And, you know, as I said, hug, you want boom, like this. And you can add your own little thing. If you have a character that's not much of a hugger, that's fine, because each and every character should have its own different personality.
You can blend with society. Doesn't make it
so if let's say you can have a shy character in fursuit and still be expressive. A good example would be, you know, there's a group of, and it works great when you're around kids. A shy personality in fursuit makes you a very approachable, very lovable character when you're in fursuit. Because if you start to shy away, you kind of cower down. It makes you less intimidating to kids, and like, oh, you know, I can approach him. He's not a big scary animal. He's afraid of me. And you'll see it if you're outside of a con setting. Parents will pick up on it because parents are smart sometimes, not all the time. No, that you get stories where parents are like, "Here, hold my baby," like, "Hold, no." But even a shy character can be exaggerated, so it doesn't matter what exactly the personality is. You can exaggerate everything. So just, you know, when you're shy, you're like, but if you were in fursuit, you're like. So anything can look ridiculous, whether you're an excitable character, whether you're a shy character, and it's more appealing that way. There's you can go out here and you can walk up and down the hallway
That's what I
all day if you want to.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that if you're not into the fursuiting for the performance aspect. But if you're trying to get the attention full with your performance, it's not the best way to go. Be interactive. Don't be afraid to, come up to a group of people you may not know because heck, you've got a big 15-pound carpet covering you. Who sees being in fursuit as a much easier way of interacting with people? I see one person who doesn't think it's easier. Actually, I didn't even ask. Who does have a fursuit here?
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, people who are.
Mine's awesome.
Okay, so you're getting one. Who in here doesn't have a fursuit but is in the works? Like you've already put a down payment in there, or you're talking to, and who has no plans for a fursuit right now? You're lying. Okay.
I'm planning. I want to get one when I actually have money, but right now it's like I'm in more college. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I get the entire college thing. I went through 4 years of that myself. It works out great in the end. Spoiler alert. College is expensive. Not going to college is even more expensive because it really is. I have my monthly student loan debt is $600 a month. But without my college education, I would be making significantly less money also. So it kind of works out. And plus in 5 years, that $600 payment goes away. So that's extra money. Ooh, I look forward to that.
That's a car.
It really is. It's a nice car also. So stay in school, kids. What's your excuse?
I'm not sure I want a fursuit yet. It's interesting, but not sure it's something for me.
Okay. And there are plenty of different reasons to get a fursuit, whether it's to bring your character to life or the performance aspect, because I want to fit in. I don't want to say there's not a bad reason to. There's bad excuses, like if you want to spend money. I do like the fact that you want to wait until after college to get a fursuit, because a fursuit is a luxury. And I don't want to turn this into a preachy panel, but no, you have the right idea. If you have good friends, there are people who will loan you a suit just to try out. I know the late Quasi Skunk. He was actually the first person to introduce me to fursuiting. He said, "Hey, how about you try this on and just go out and wave at cars?" And it was an absolute blast. And I thank him to this very day for giving me my first opportunity to wear a fursuit. So, and there are people who are very much more open to sharing their fursuit. And then there's some people who are like, this is my fursuit, only I can wear it. And there's going to be reasons for whether they see it as an extension of themselves. Fursuits can be very personal to people, or, they know it doesn't fit you. I know I've had to tell people, I'm a big person, but I've got to tell people who are 6'6" and weigh 350 pounds, I don't think you're going to be able to fit into my fursuit, I'm sorry. Which I don't like saying, but, and then there's the people who are 5'1" and 120 pounds, can I wear your fursuit? That's going to be hilarious, let's do it. But back to the whole performance exaggerate. Any kind of emotion you can think of. Think about how you would do that without fursuit, and then think, how do I want to do that with a fursuit on? Talk about, I want to give someone a hug. I want to be angry. I can talk about anger. I want to be shy. So, if I'm angry, I'm just but that's not fursuit. Now this guy's going to show me, if you're angry at me, how are you going to show that to me? You see? Now, I'm going to try and mimic that, okay? How stupid does that look when I do it? It looks ridiculous, doesn't it? It means you're doing great. Let's see. Name another emotion.
Sadness.
Again, it looks ridiculous when I do it without 15-foot carpet or 15-pound carpet on. But I'm gonna make the skunk do this one. Show me sadness. Exaggerate everything. That's the best advice I can give you with performance, and it'll come with you. One thing you're now, like now, let's say I just won the lottery. Woo, yeah. Now if he just won the lottery, show me what. Let's say you just won the lottery. Now, how about you? Making everybody put their fursuits back on. Skunk, show me excitement. Now, stop, think what you just did. Were you smiling under the head? Yeah. So don't, because they can't see what you're doing, like under the head. So, and it's okay to let that, because one thing I've noticed, when someone wants a picture, it's like, okay, they want a picture of me, they want a picture of 3 of us or so. Like, all right, say cheese, and like an idiot, I smile. Even though I've got this big foam thing covering my face, I smile because it controls the rest of me. So don't be afraid to let your emotions out and just say, you know, hey, and run with it. That is how you're going to exaggerate. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to send the dial to 11. And it is exhausting. It really is. So you won't be able to be in fursuit as long, but you get used to it. Your body does learn to adjust, especially like your first time out there. It's not uncommon to be absolutely gassed after 15 minutes because your body's just not accustomed to a fursuit yet. But the more you fursuit, the easier it gets. And then age takes over. And then the more you fursuit, the more of a toll it takes on your body, as I'm learning. I'm not even that old yet. Who in here does use a voice with their character, though? Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not my style, but there's, you know, the school of thoughts have changed in the past 15 years on fursuit. When I started, it was no voice none of the time except for in emergencies. And it's really changed. People are smarter now. Even parents are smarter. And using a voice can be a good way to bring more extensions into your characters. And it does help with the communication. Absolutely 100% does. And there are good reasons to do it. One thing I would say, if you're going to do a voice, be consistent about it. So if you would have a chipmunk character, you may want to do a higher pitched voice, which I am not good at. So I would never have a chipmunk character. If I did, it would just carry around like a giant plush acorn, and that's it. Or if you want to have a bull character, you would probably go for a deeper voice, which I don't have to worry about because my voice is already base level. So, but if you're going to do a voice, I would say be consistent about it and project. Because as I mentioned earlier, this big foam head covers and hides a lot of your facial expression. It also muffles your voice. So, for me, my voice carries is not a problem, but even I've noticed, if I try to talk in fursuit to someone who's across the room because I'm at a party with everyone I know and I don't care about performance at this point because I'm already 3 sheets to the wind, which we will get to, then my voice doesn't carry as far. That's because you do. You have a foam head around you. Voice just doesn't project as well. So, be consistent with your voice, whether you're going for a higher pitched voice, whether you're going for a deeper voice, or whether you're just going with your normal voice, or you can just try accents. You know, maybe you've got a collie fursuit and you want to try a British accent. I think that would make sense, right? Collies are from Britain. Maybe. Either way, I digress.
What about corgis? Corgis are
There you go. Corey, if you're doing a corgi character and you have the drop crotch to end all drop crotches because corgis have legs like this.
I was at Midwest Fur Fest and I saw a corgi fursuiter, and they had like the hugest pad things for their legs ever. It was hilarious. They had like a really thin line from like their legs to the floor. It was really funny.
The one great thing about animals like corgis is if you're going to do a character, you almost have to do body proportions because it's going to be tough for people to recognize what the breed is of dogs. So, and there's some animals that that body proportions should be a part of the character. I think kangaroos are one because they have such strong legs. You probably want leg padding in there. What's another one? Giraffes. There's one giraffe I've seen. Like, how do you do a great giraffe? It's all about fur pattern because you really can't do the long neck without breaking your body in some way, shape, or form.
There's a few out there.
There are, and when I see a giraffe that's well done, I'm like, okay, that is impressive. But yeah, the two things, if you're going to do a voice, be consistent, whether it's high pitch, low pitch, some kind of accent. Be consistent with it, use it all the time, and project your voice. Because again, you got foam head around you, it's going to muffle it, it's going to lower your volume. So anything you can't do comfortably, like if you want to do a German accent for a German Shepherd, you want to make sure that when you're projecting your voice, that you can still hold that accent. If you can't, then maybe go with your normal voice or go with a deeper voice or something that is easier to hold. And the key is consistency with that. And that's when it can really, really help the character. Buddy's a great example if anyone knows who Buddy is. That's a great example of someone who the performer uses a very unique voice for the character, is able to project it. And as I mentioned, Buddy, you can probably hear what his voice sounds like in your head if you are familiar with the fursuit. And it really can do a great job of bringing a character to life. So any questions about performing? And I'm going to say since it is 101, there's no such thing as a stupid question. There really isn't, because we're either just getting into it, looking to get into it, or we've been into it, but maybe there's a couple things that we're not sure of. Because I know I ask questions to people who have been doing it just as long as I have, because there's maybe things I can learn from them. So don't be afraid to ask questions about that. How are we doing, North? Good. What are you looking for?
Nothing. I just saw you, so I was going to peek in here.
I'm talking to a lot of people right now. I'm the center of attention. This is... What?
Nothing.
Love you.
Love you too, Oscar.
Give this Green Bay Packer guy a high five also. Packers.
I was trying to find a copy of. Oh, never mind.
Were you trying to find a copy?
The schedule.
They should have it either in Reg or in Operations.
Okay.
So next topic I wanted to touch on was safety. Guys, safety. You probably hear it at work when you got your driver's license. You hear it when you learn any new blue collar skill. You hear about safety. Fursuiting is a blue collar skill because it involves a lot. It involves being very active, physical endurance. Safety is key. So right now, while I look at the room, I can see from about here to about here, here. Now this, I'm gonna put this on. Now I see here to here and here to here. That is how much my field of vision shrinks when you put a fursuit head on. And you guys notice it. I'm sure I'll be able to see a video later. But in the people who have their heads, you can just do that right now. In fact, if you guys are comfortable, you guys want to take your heads off from me, I want you guys to come up here. That's only if you're comfortable. Well, you're going to want your heads up for the next, so there you go. So have your heads ready. And So right now, we have purple people here completely undressing for us. All right. Hold your hands out to show me what your field of vision is right now. Just look at me and show me. Okay, so you guys can see your hands, right? Everyone can still see their hands? All right, do top to bottom now. All right, so, all right, now, you guys saw that? Everyone put your heads back on. All right. Same thing. From here to here, show me your field of vision. You guys see that? Look how, I mean, they were at least more than shoulder wide. Now most of them are about the width of their fursuit head. Top to bottom, guys. Now, the big one. Do you see how low some of them were pointing? Some of them were down to their waist and even lower. None of them see above their nose. That is what a fursuit, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate your help with this. We can do it. Do a small class. And you have to be aware of that when you have a fursuit head on, that your field of vision is not just cut in half, it's cut by a fraction, like a single percentage point of what you were able to see beforehand. The biggest problem is right in front of you, because unless you are looking down like this, you are not going to see curves, you're not going to see tables, chairs. Heaven knows how many times I've walked right into a table or a chair. Small kids. If you have a kid who is in grade school or younger, you will miss them unless you are paying attention walking forward the entire time. You will run right into them, and you have to be aware of that. That means when I'm walking down the hallway, I can just look straight forward, or usually I'm like do. You probably shouldn't be texting while fursuiting either. There would be a PSA, wouldn't it? Don't text in fursuit, people, with carnage of destroyed fursuits. I'm stealing this idea. Actually, it's not stealing; it's my idea. I'm gonna make something out of this, okay? But one thing to do to alleviate that is keep your head, who's heard the football term, keep your head on a swivel? Nobody pays, okay, you've heard the term. What does it mean?
Keep like that basically, always looking around where you're moving.
Yep. It's also a hockey term, except for they just say don't play with your head down, because if you're watching the puck, you're not gonna see this guy come and crash into you. And it's the same thing with fursuiting. Look around constantly. If you're moving forward, look down, look side, look up, look to the side again. Just constantly move around. And it adds to your expression. It helps with the fursuit performing also, but it also lets you widen your field of vision. And it helps for safety. That way, if I'm looking around, oh, I see that table right now. And I know in about 7 paces, probably fewer, that's going to become a problem. So I can look around, okay, I know that table's coming there, let me see, oh, the table's right there, I got one more step, and then I can sidestep it. Whereas, if I'm back here just looking forward, I may not see that table. And I just do, and then boom, there go my thighs, and I have to fake, either have to fake like I'm not in pain or exaggerate the pain. One or the other.
I will say this much, realistic suits have less of a field of vision than the toony ones.
They really do, and that's an excellent point. If you have a realistic suit like you two do, yourself included, these guys are more toony, it makes your field of vision even smaller. So, and it makes looking around while you're moving even more important. So that way you can look out for that table that's coming in front of you. You see, if you're in the streets, like there's a pothole or there's a curb right there. Hello.
And what's this?
Fursuiting 101.
Just kind of bored.
You should. As someone who's done programming at a furry con, Friday afternoons are probably the most boring because not everybody's here yet. There are people who are at work right now who will be here later today because they're responsible adults. What kind of life is that?
I skipped school for this. Girl's responsibility. Yep.
I can say I've skipped school for furry con.
I skipped school for the Friday day after West Fur Fest.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Midwest Fur Fest is really bad because that's close to finals week for everybody also.
I'm in middle school, so.
Okay. Okay, maybe this fandom is getting younger. You're in middle school?
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay, at ACI, I hosted a panel where the majority of people who were there were under the age of 18. It was a fursuit meet and greet. And you had all these kids who were in high school and middle school, and they didn't know anybody there, and they were like trying to meet new people, like, yeah, and they all brought their parents also, which is so cool. It is so cool that you can get your parents interested. You are an excellent parent.
I'm the chauffeur.
Not really.
We do appreciate people like you being with.
In Midwest, there was a large percentage of teens and teens there. We had our own parents group.
That is so cool. Like, cause my parents with furry, honestly, and I love my parents. I love them to death. It's just one of those things we don't talk about. It really is, because like, you're 35 years old. Why are you still hanging out with those people? I don't know. They're kind of cool sometimes. Except for they get stupid on Facebook once in a while. It's like, shh. But
Who doesn't?
I would never get stupid on Facebook. That's a lie. I get stupid on Twitter. Just ask any of my friends. Oh my god. Or just don't go to my Twitter. It's awful. But no, it's great to have parent involvement in something like furry and being involved in it. And we do appreciate those of us who have been involved for so long. So thank you very much. What was I saying? So I kind of got distracted there, and that's another thing you want to avoid when you're in fursuit is don't get distracted by a thing. That was not planned, but that was pretty great. Avoid distractions, because as you're paying attention, you're looking for that table, that chair, the small child, the curve if you're outside. If you stop looking for that, that's how you run into things, if you let yourself get distracted. Now, that doesn't mean don't stop and have a conversation with your friend, or try and entertain some people. That's perfectly fine. That's part of the fun, but just continue to be aware of your surroundings. It does sound like fursuiting is a lot of work. It's really not, because once you get into the habit of looking around for distractions, looking down for tables, chairs, or anything that could trip you up, it becomes second nature. It becomes second nature very quickly, especially after the first time that you don't look for that chair or don't look for that table. But that wasn't an important phone call. I don't think it was. It could have been from work, but they know better. They know I'm not here today, which that doesn't stop them. Who here has ever handled for a fursuiter? It can be the most boring job on the planet, can it not?
Imagine you're knocking a dog while also taking care of a toddler. It's boring, but only if you forget that they're there and you realize they ran into something. Hi, I love you.
It can be very. Would you say that's an accurate description? Because I think that's a perfectly accurate description.
Yeah, it's pretty easy until you
Yeah.
forget something and knock the smart off the table with your tail or something.
Oh, because I've never knocked drinks off a bar with my tail. You should see the tail for this guy. It is this high, and it is pure foam. And I wear a tight belt with it, so it moves very much. So it's curled also because he's half husky. And I have knocked things off of tables before. So, yeah. So, Hey, Sean, can you buy this lady a $7 drink and I'll pay you for the bag? True story. Happened at a bowling alley. Be aware, like I already mentioned, be aware of your surroundings like that. And the same thing, if you have something like, if you have a fursuit with wings, be aware of your surroundings. Because anything that you don't have on your person that you're not used to, big ears, big tail, wings, something, anything like that, that's stuff you're not used to having that can cause trouble. I have not knocked over a child with my tail yet. Yet.
You changed yourself.
Yes, the table did not fall over. It's a good thing.
This one has knocked up things off shelves for ears.
That is awesome. Unless it was fragile, then.
No, definitely not.
One time a kid ran towards me at a Halloween party. I tried to get down fast enough to give him a hug. He bounced his forehead right out the end of the snout.
Oh my. Let's talk a little bit about interacting with kids, because you won't see this so much at furry cons. If you go outside of furry cons, you will see it all the time. It's almost unavoidable. Ain't that right? Boo at the Zoo is an event down in Chicago that I try to hit every year, and you cannot walk a step without having 3 kids run at you. So if you have kids are going to do one of 2 reactions, okay? You're going to think you're the greatest thing ever. Like, oh my gosh, it is a giant fluffy animal. I want this. I'm going to take this home with me. Mom, Dad, I have a new pet. Or they are going to be scared to death of you.
There's a third one.
Really?
In between. I'm not sure if I'm terrified or if I love you.
I've seen the in-between before.
It exists.
It does exist. It's so rare. Like, they're not sure. And so, for the kids who are really scared, that's just go away. You don't want anything to do with them. Nothing good can come of this. And the worst part is when parents will be like, oh, get a picture anyway. No, if the kid wants nothing to do with you, it's not, you haven't lost that battle, because that battle hasn't been fought yet. Don't fight that battle. You can't win. Just with the parent, if the parent's trying to push, like, no, I don't want anything to do with that kid. And it's nothing against a kid. That's just a natural reaction. They're like, a fear of mascot costumes is perfectly natural. It has something to do psychologically with not being able to see facial expressions or something like that. I don't know. I'm an actual science grad, not a psychology or sociology grad, so I assume what I hear from people who know that they're not BSing me. But perfectly natural. The kids who are really excited, first thing you want to do, you want to get down to their levels. You want to get on a knee. You can squat also if you're in good health, because I played baseball for how many years in high school, and try to keep myself in decent shape. You can't really tell by this, but so if you can squat down, go ahead, as long as your seams don't rip, and you can do that. But the other way, and probably the most common way, and there's one offset to this I'll point out, is just to get down on one knee. And that way, if you have this as kind of protection so that they don't knee the groin, and you can give them a hug down here or a high five. But if you get down on one knee, that's probably your best bet. The only downside to that is you're going to get dirt on your fursuit. But hopefully you should be washing your fursuit on a fairly regular basis. We'll get to that in a little bit. Now the in-between, that's when you really want to pile on the timid aspect. Even if it's not part of your character, if you really want to interact with that kid and want to get him trust, then you go with the timid thing. There's like, first thing, get on their level, or you can try the shy away from them thing, and so you don't appear as a threat to them. So those are 2 ways you can go about it. You can either get down smaller so that they can look at you and like, oh, you're not a big scary animal, or shy away so that, hey, look, you're not a big scary animal. If that doesn't work, abandon ship. If they're still not sure, don't push it.
You know pretty quickly.
Yeah.
There's a minute gap usually. It's like,
that kid's made their decision, and yeah, there's going to be other kids also usually who want your attention more, and maybe and I've had times where a kid is in that in-between zone. Again, it's rare, but it does happen, where they will see me interact with other kids, and then they'll finally get the courage to come up to you, and that's kind of a cool feeling when you're like, hey, I was nice to these kids, and now this kid finally trusts me. That's a good feeling. Who here is 21 or older? Who here has drank before fursuiting? And you can be honest.
Does water count?
Drinking booze. Okay, I'm not your father. Don't do that. I've done it before. I'm telling you, don't do it. And it's not because it's not fun. It is fun. But what alcohol does is it dehydrates you. What does fursuiting do?
Are you out?
All the fur and stuff on you gives you really sweaty, so you have to drink water.
Yep. And alcohol just compounds that problem. And you will probably see an ambulance here sometime this weekend. It happens at every furry con. Was there one yesterday? Already?
No, there were cops there. Something happened. I don't know. Like cops.
You will see an ambulance here at some point this weekend. It'll probably be a result of someone drinking and fursuiting. Maybe just drinking, but
There's Wisconsin, so.
there's plenty of things to do in Wisconsin, like go to a Packers game.
No, most of it, as a Wisconsinite, yeah, there's a lot of drinking.
Everything you can do in Wisconsin is always better with a drink. That's the rule.
There's a lot of things that are better with a drink, though.
Well, we are the brew capital of the U.S.
But keep them. First off, if you're going to drink, don't fursuit. If you're going to fursuit, don't drink. You can drink afterwards, but you're going to get fluids in your body, and that's just general intelligence. Keep yourself hydrated. If you're going to drink, small levels, don't be drinking. Hey, let's just do shots of Everclear all night because then the ambulance will be here.
Or you first one down.
Keep yourself hydrated as much as humanly possible when you're fursuiting. That means if you're walking up and down the hallway, know where the fursuit lounge is, which is on the other end of the building.
Mm-hmm. Is that the room with the drinks?
Yes. Yep.
There's also a basement headless lounge.
Okay. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, I was down over the ground. There's a basement headless lounge.
Is it closer to here or?
It's kind of around the corner a little bit.
Right.
And so it's just like when you walk down a little bit and you see the stairs and you go down there, walk around the corner and you'll see a basement headless lounge with fans in it.
So, but keep yourself hydrated. Take breaks every so often. Know what your limits are. If you're just getting into fursuiting, I would say 15 minutes. If you're experienced, you probably have a better idea of what your limits are. Some people can go 2+ hours without taking a break. They're crazy, but some people can. But no, and even if you get to, I would say if you get to that 2-hour mark and you're still feeling fine, go take a break anyway. Get water in you, stay hydrated, because dehydration sucks. Dehydration is awful.
Real quick,
yes.
Another hint for those who can actually afford it is these cool collars. They're wonderful.
And also,
The vests.
ice vest. I'm wearing an ice vest that I'm wearing.
Camel packs are another way to do it. If you don't want to go into the headless lounge constantly, some people have camel packs that's just water. Just water. There are a lot of ways to keep your body temperature regulated. Balaclavas are a great way, as they soak up your sweat. Like this gentleman has back here. They are excellent. Yes?
Handlers are also good as portable water tubs.
Yes, if you are a handler, have, just a water bottle is great with a big straw. Just keep yourself hydrated, if nothing else. Hey, Sarathan, this guy goes for hours at a time. You're crazy. what I'm telling these people.
Or team's director.
But take regular breaks. It does depend on your activity level also. If it's middle of summer and you're out running around in 90-degree weather, probably every 15 minutes. If you're just walking down the hallway here and it's actually nice and cool out, you can probably get away with maybe an hour or two, depending on your experience. I wouldn't want to tell anyone more than an hour based on if you don't know what your personal limits are.
I want to add this from my personal experience with her. If you go without water for half an hour in that 100-degree weather, you're going to hate yourself.
Just yeah, be aware of what the conditions are as well. Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
What about like if it's kind of cool out, like not hot but not really cold, around like 70? Would you still like?
Treat it. I would say treat it like you're inside.
What if you're in like partial, that's still fine.
Partial makes fursuiting easier. It does because you don't have as much. You're not carrying around as much weight. See, people say because your head's covered, you retain more body heat. There's some truth to that. A lot of it is how heavy it is and the fact that it's thick foam also. So if you have a big head, you're actually going to retain more. If you're wearing a bodysuit, you're going to retain more. If it's long pile fur, you're going to retain more. That's why you kind of want to get an idea of what it is with your individual situations. Because I would say our bird here would probably will last a lot longer than our fluffy purple guy over here, because you've got big head, long pile fur, probably pretty heavy paws, where you look like that it's a partial, yes? Yeah. A partial, yes, it's black, but probably is pretty light on the weight side. You would probably, all of the things being equal, you would probably be able to last a lot longer in fursuit than you would. And everything should be tailored to your individual situations. And as you fursuit more and more, you will get an idea of what your limits are. I know myself, I've gone 2 hours before without a break in 60-degree weather, and I was fine. I cannot say the same for one of my friends who was with me. Hello. Fursuiting 101. We've got 9 minutes left.
All right, never mind, sorry.
All right, yeah.
Add with her, but any that it's warm but not really hot. Take what you usually do for water and half it. One time take your every 4 hours, do 2, and so on.
I would say and I would also say you'd rather be safe than sorry with water. If you're not sure, or it's like, hey, it's a little bit like this, but not, just make assumptions and be on the safe side.
You know when you're hydrated.
Yeah.
Another thing to do, though, other than water, is make sure that you have a really good meal at least an hour beforehand, because really food also really helps in the long run too.
It does.
This one comes from experience in triple-digit degree, but try to make sure your water is not like ice cold, because the heat and cold water, I've seen it make people pass out.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with doing room temperature water. If you're doing, if you're going to do water breaks, room temperature water works just as well as 40-degree water. It really does. It does, because you're just hydrating yourself. You're not, and the problem with cold water is you actually do burn calories heating it up. So if you're going with room temperature water, that's less work for your body. It's not a lot, but it does help. One last thing I want to get to before, because we've got, 8 minutes here. A little bit of quick maintenance stuff to go over. After each, so there's things you want to do after each outing, after each con, and then when needed, usually less often than after each con. And this is for anyone who's actually fursuiting right now. When you get back to your room, a couple things you want to do. You want to brush. You want to dry out all the parts of your fursuit. So brush the bodysuit down. Hey Ziegler.
Hello.
So, hey Josh.
You're so cute.
No, hey, you're here to interrupt me. What you're going to do is after each outing, you want to hang up your fursuit, bodysuit, store the feet, store the hands. If the tail is detachable or the wings are detachable, store those. Head, if you have a fan, like you can buy hanger fans and head fans. And they may even have some of those in the dealer's den. I don't know.
I was in there, I didn't see it.
Okay, it depends on, it's different for each console, but you can buy fans for the bodysuit, for the head. What you'll want to do, get out of the fursuit, hang everything up, store everything in a quote-unquote cool, dry place so that it can air out. Brush everything. Brush the bodysuit, brush the head, brush the hands, tail, whatever you need. Now, usually, at least personal experience, the tail doesn't need that much brushing. If you want to skip a step, that's a good place to spray it down with some kind of disinfectant. Some people do 50-50 alcohol water mix, and it works very well to dry things out. Some people use something like Febreze. I've heard mixed reviews on Febreze. It does help with the scent, but you'll probably need to wash your fursuit more if you use Febreze. Now, so there are two different schools of thought there. I think both are fairly legit, but the problem with using Febreze after each and every outing is that it will build up and it will require more true washings. So you'll want to do that after each and every time. One way to make things a little bit easier for yourself, wear some kind of compression gear under your fursuit, whether it's compression shorts, compression tops, balaclavas, also known as Under Armour. It's a great way to keep the sweat on that and off your fursuit as well. Yes.
Never mind, you answered it.
Oh.
Do you recommend isopropyl, or is your particular type you recommend for using for this weapon?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Isopropyl alcohol?
Yeah, rubbing alcohol works. To me, it really doesn't matter. I do 50% rubbing alcohol, 50% water, and that if you're going to do it that way, you want a very light spritz. You don't want to soak it because it just delays the drying process. Yes.
What type of brush do you use?
I'm sorry.
What type of brush do you use?
Pros or
Brush.
brush? Oh, brush.
Sorry.
Shoot. I should have brought with me. So dog hair brush. You can, slicker brush would work. If you're going to do you can use a wire brush, but do it if you're going to do it. Like, who's brushed a dog with a wire brush? You want to kind of pull. Don't do that with a fursuit because that's going to pull the fur out, and unlike dogs, that doesn't grow back. You're going to push if you're going to use a wire brush. Aside from that, pretty much any kind of brush is going to work. I wouldn't use a comb.
I've actually heard that when you say you go to a pet store to buy a brush, I always heard the cheaper, the better, because the cheaper ones don't have all the extra fine hooks for getting to the undercoats on a real dog as compared to on a suit.
So for the tails, would you wash them, or does it depend on what type?
It depends on what type it is.
So like,
Here we go. Here's a slicker brush. Do you mind if we pass this around?
Sure.
So, and this is one of the ones where you would push down, like so. I would want to go like this on it and not like this. So if you guys make sure they get it back.
like $2 basically too. You have almost pet stores.
And you can get bigger ones also. Like every brush I have is like massive because, sweet Jesus, fursuits are big. Yes.
Would washcloths work? Like you just damp in the solution?
I would avoid it.
I don't personally.
Okay. No, I would say the alcohol water mixture and a brushing would be good enough for that. I would do the brushing after the spray also. But
issue
again,
without too much moisture is you run the chance of getting old in there somewhere.
yeah.
Cool dry places are great, but if it's too wet, like for storage, you'll smell really nasty to get out. Yeah, for more stories of that one.
As far as after cons now, with something that, and this is going to get to your point, bodysuits are very easy to clean. Now there's again two schools of thought, and there are a lot of schools of thought on to how to wash when it comes to care and maintenance with fursuits in general. There are a lot of thoughts, and I don't want to say any of them are bad advice, but some work better than others. If you're going to wash the bodysuit, always turn it inside out before you do. Always. If you can spot clean, I think there's Folex you can use. It's kind of like an upholstery cleaner, and it works great on fursuits. So you can spot clean if it's not ready for a full wash. If it is ready for a full wash, turn it inside out, and you can use something that's made for delicate fabrics, like a wool light, for example, and you can soak it in a bathtub. And it is the grossest thing when you pull it out of the bathtub because everything is just a nasty color. Yes.
On any milk pieces or anything attached to the suit itself, a good way to do is a mesh bag to keep it all together so it doesn't damage the washer or get caught in it itself.
Right. Now, for me, like my bodysuit, there's no padding, so I can actually just turn it inside out and put it in the washer. And again, if you're going to do it, treat it as you would any kind of delicate garment. You want it on the most delicate setting, cold water, wool light, and that works pretty much good enough because it does get all the funk and stink out. If you're doing something that, like fursuit paws, for example, show them your feet. Those things are massive. For something like that, you almost want to exclusively spot clean them. And by spot clean, I mean Folex on the white parts and brush it, follow the instructions. And when I say follow the instructions, like if you're using something like wool light, if you're using something like Folex, follow the instructions. There's a reason the instructions are on there, and it works. You treat it pretty much like you would be washing a carpet. And we talk about how these things are giant, heavy carpets because they really are. I would say you want to do a full wash on your bodysuit. It varies. Personally, I go for about every other con. It usually works. But if you're out there, if you're fursuiting a lot at a con, then you may want to wash it every con. If you're not fursuiting that much, if you get out there, once for the parade and that's it, then you may be able to get away with fewer washes. I would say no less than once every 6 months, again, depending on how many cons you go to. Because if you're only going to 2 cons a year, that's what you're going to be washing probably once every 2 months. Bodysuit, you can throw it in the tub, tail, foot paws, head, spot clean. There are people out there who have a lot better knowledge of this, and there are plenty of websites. Any kind of the best person probably as far as maintenance would be the person who built it, because they all have their own fursuits. They know what works for what they use, and they've probably been in contact with the people who provide the materials for their fursuits, whether it's the foam, whether it's fur, anything like that. What time we got? We have 4:01. Guys, we can do one last round of questions, and then it'll be time to adjourn. Though, I don't know who's next in here. Are you here next? What are you running?
Intro to Furry Writing 101.
Oh, okay. That's why Josh is in here. So I'm just eating into your time. What's more important, fursuiting or writing, guys?
Writing.
Dragon's gonna beat me up, guys. Do one last round of Q&A if anyone has any questions.
Anyone else? Agitators versus high efficiency washers. Agitators versus
Yeah. High efficiency if you can.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is there any safeguards you can think of?
So if you have the option, front load washers every time.
There are some ones that are actually not agitators, period.
Right,
too,
right.
Top loaders.
Yeah. But if you can, agitator, if you can avoid it. But high efficiency, front load first, high efficiency, and then if you agitators still work. That's what I use for mine. I just use what they have at the apartment complex, and it works fine for me. But if you can use a high efficiency washer, absolutely go ahead. Yes.
What's your favorite food?
What's my favorite food? Pizza and chicken Alfredo.
I love that.
Chicken Alfredo is amazing.
No, it's not Italian.
I don't care. It still tastes good. Pizza.
Who was the provider for your fursuits?
My fursuits?
Yeah, because I'm trying to find someone who can make one for me.
Arden Studios, I think that's how you pronounce it. Based out of Denver, Colorado.
What?
What? What are you looking for?
Oh,
Well, since it's gonna be my own original character, it's actually a cat panda.
Oh. I don't know many fursuiters that take original characters.
Try that, Brad.
most of them will actually take, most fursuit builders will build original characters.
Yeah.
A lot of them will, some of them will balk at copyrighted characters, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I want a Nick Wilde fursuit, because who doesn't want a Nick Wilde fursuit? A lot of them are going to balk at that. But if you're like, I have this original character, I would say the majority of fursuit builders would say yes if it's something that they think they can build well. I've heard of fursuit builders who will turn away ideas because they don't think they're the best ones for it. There are some that, you know, I only do dog fursuit because the cats I make are, you know, not that good looking. And it's up to essentially the individual builders what they like and what they don't. I would say if you're looking for a builder, the best way is find out which fursuits you like that you think are a great fit for your character. I could, for example, let's say I don't want to pick on any individual fursuit or any individual builder, but let's say I think Mixed Candy makes great fursuits, but I have a character that's, you know, species XYZ, and they've never made a species XYZ, but Lacey's made a species XYZ and did a really good job. So I would say two things to keep in mind when looking for a builder is what kind of fursuits, which other fursuits do you like, and what are you looking for with your own fursuit? Because if you're looking for realistic, but you like cute and cuddly, then maybe what your favorite fursuits builder or what they've done may not be the best for you. Any more questions, guys? Guys, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate having you here. Thank you.
And also, most